Right, another man in a van, and I think a real special one this time. It's 2 days after Matterley. Oh, by the way, better give our sponsors a mention. There we go, Relaxtorace arm pump and FXR, of course. A real special one this time. 2 days after the much talked about British GP, opening round of the year, and we're actually back up at Matterley with the man that makes it all happen, Steve Dixon. Steve, well, there was a lot of negativity leading in, like we seem to have a lot of people doing that these days in our sport. But once again, you had, let's be honest, so much thrown at you. And come Sunday, epic GP, unbelievable track, great racing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this like 30 years now, so yeah, I'm not worried about negative people because, you know, anything I do, if there's anyone that can come up and help and do it better, then, you know, more than welcome. But if they, you know, if they criticise and, you know, then, you know, I'm prepared for them to ring me up, sit down with me, and you know, and I'll explain reasons why or wherefore. You know, even like well, not anything criticised about this weekend, but you know, I just saw something say, oh, there was not toilets over one side. Well, that was a decision made because the toilet people said, look, if you put toilets in their normal positions, we cannot get through to service them because we can only get through with a tractor and a tractor gully, because everything is on a camber. And they said we just put them in one place and, you know, near the entrance so that everyone can go there. You know, they know they're there, and you know, that's the advice from those sort of people, from the toilet people. We have a good bunch of people doing this GP, you know, contractors and everything. So we listen to them. You know, that's something that, you know, you don't think about.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So it is always easy to sit at home on your tramp in your van, reading whatever what it is. There is so much that goes into it, more than people realise. Yeah. And I know you're emphasised that. Yeah. But also, you know, this year was obviously started off pretty negative again. Nothing to do with you're doing or whatever. No. That didn't help, did it? With the wind coming through and of course the skybox coming.
Yeah, I mean down. The first off.
At that point, was you? How do you, as a promoter, react to when something like that happens? When you got the news that had come down, what was you like? Do you keep calm? Is there swear words? Are you like, oh, why am I bothering?
No, I mean, first off, I don't see myself as a promoter. I see myself as a, you know, a motocross person. You know, that's everyone who knows me. That's my life. You know, it's what comes first, and you know, I'm just mad for it. I don't even know why I do. I don't even know why I do the GP. I couldn't answer that question. It's like, you know, I have a great team. I have great people around me. I do motocross every week, and yeah, I do this motocross. But you know, that stems back from, you know, the days of sort of 2001. You know, Fox Hills. You know, I loved the GP at Fox Hills. Then it was at Isle of Wight, and you know, that was because we just need one GP for our sponsors, and that gets us through the next year with British people. You know, it's a good feel factor.
Is it that big for your?
Yeah, I mean, back then I used to have 300 guests over. You know, I used to get a tent overlooking Fox Hill, and you know, I'd be up there with me lawnmower and put the big tent up, hire the space off of John Hauler and stuff, and you know, that was sort of big time.
That's another thing that people probably wouldn't understand or even stop to appreciate, that the importance of your racing sponsors to have that experience. You know, like they want to come to a British GP. And
Isle of Wight, we had, you know, lots there. You know, I never ever thought about sort of organising a race until 2005, until obviously the one that you was involved in with Rob Bradley. It was, you know, a great event. You know, Billy won a race. You know, for us it was fantastic. But then there was no GP. You know, then there was going to be a GP here and there and everywhere, and you know, it didn't happen. Then 2005 we had two, because I ran Matchams and
which was great, again. Which was brilliant. That was a learning curve first time, I bet.
So you know, that was you know, the whole reason behind it. You know, I had no ambitions to be a promoter, and you certainly won't earn any money out of it. But yeah, I mean, now it's just about, the original thing was to get stability in the GP, and we have such a good group of guys. I mean, and it sort of, if we could just get, you know, chip away at little sections. That's what we try to do each year, and yeah, it's hard to believe that it's been sort of
Well, this is the thing for me. When you came up to the commentary tower at the weekend, you said, we're in the 10th year of running here. And I know this happens quite often in life where people go, "God, was it really that long ago?" That was really like that for me when you said that. I said, "Really?"
Yeah.
10 years, because it's gone like seemingly like that.
Yeah, I mean, we've run 2 GPs more than Fox Hill, and so we built the track 14 years ago.
Yeah.
Then we had the Nations, which was epic, 60,000, but there was also huge amount of damage and stuff, and we had sort of 5 years off, sort of from the council really, that they said we shouldn't sort of do that, and then we just built from there.
So
we had 2 at the beginning in 2006, and then we started in 2011.
Yeah.
And to be honest, the 2011 one was really the ACU. Jim Parker came to me and said, look, there was obviously going to be the one from the Gareth was going to run at Chepstow. That didn't happen. So again, the GPs were in turmoil. It was at Donington, it was at Mallory, it was going to be at Chepstow, there was going to be other places, and again, the founder of sort of motocross in the UK, which go back to Camberley where motocross started.
Yeah.
And suddenly, we're like a bit of a laughing stock of we're not going to book UK because it will probably never happen. So that was the main aim, and Jim Parker.
Was that a little extra bit of motivation for you?
No, not really. None of it's motivation. I don't need the motivation. It's just, like I say, I have the team and everything was been going good with that. It was just that Jim Parker from the ACU came to me and said, look, we need to hold the GP. Will you help us hold it at Matterley? He said, we'll buy all the toilets and everything like that, and we'll run it. So I said, yeah, fine, that's brilliant. So they signed up to sort of have the race, with Giuseppe, and then we went. That was it. And then come September, Giuseppe said to me, the ACU's backed out. They can't do it. The members won't allow it. So I was like, he said, so will you do a deal with me? So that was the start of it. And, then we did that. And then they said, the festival. We did the festival. We did the next festival, 700 people. I mean, and again, like here.
Have you ever, something I've been in to ask you for some time. Do you ever actually just say, you must go sometimes, just go look at it all and go, no, I can't do that. From the outside looking in, it looks like you don't say, you're just like, your enthusiasm gets you through.
Yeah, I mean,
and you're like, we'll do that.
No, I mean, I find it hard to look on the negative side because that's just not me. I mean, every GP, come a couple of weeks beforehand, I get this like, heart is like going, because financially, I'm not a rich man. I came from a mechanic and I've built up a team.
You came from British Rail?
British Rail. I don't have money behind me. I don't have money. I just rely on left and right and try and do the job, with the people around me. And I say the people around me, like sort of SWP, John Dezor, Preston Docks, and that hardcore group of people that sort of help me. They'll buy some machinery or whatever and help sponsor it, and all of those make a difference. If we had more and more little sponsors, a couple of grand here, or provide a bit of fencing, or provide this, it's that would make a difference. So we get by the skin of our teeth each year.
I mean, but I'm just looking. You guys can't see us. We're parked in the paddock area where all the big teams were. Obviously, this task, let alone the track. Because I was here when you first said you were coming in. We came up here doing the things with Moto. Just this groundwork alone to do this is monumental. And I'm looking out now, 10 years further down the line, you've got festival-style fencing around the entire site. Yeah. That's massive. There's Harris fencing. I mean, it's just monumental. It's a huge site. It's such a vast site. And I mean, the fencing helps give it a sort of an arena-type feel. But it also... we have to, as well as just the motocross, we have to abide by all the sort of health and safety laws, and there must be so much of that, particularly when obviously not your fault. Obviously, the nations that year were hammered down, but then you had the issue on top of that of the road being closed, which caused so much, and people don't understand that, and it's almost like the GP was getting blamed for the traffic and all that, when actually it was an accident, fatality on the road caused you
that's right.
a massive amount of headache.
Yeah, I mean, it was like leaving Sunday night. I mean, everyone got out no problem, but
But the M3 was
the
shut.
M3 was shut because of a diesel spillage and a fire early on in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to have all these sort of contingencies in place. You know, we had the signage on the motorways. You know,
I've got to say, before you go further with that, that was cool. Leading up to the event where you got the genuine motorway signs, not the, you know, the temporary ones. And it in big words was motocross this weekend. That, even for me, like, I thought, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's something that has to go in a year in advance and everything. No, I mean, yeah, it is a big task, very big task when you look at it. And it's, say, we're just a small team, and you know, when you're looking around now and you see how much rubbish is around from the teams, from not neglect, but just how much volume of stuff there is involved afterwards. You know, so that's, you know, as much building up as taken down is a bigger sort of. And then, you know, trouble is, like, all your volunteers and helpers that have done it prior, when the event's gone, it's like, you're just here in the field alone and couple of people, and yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
So, at what point after running a few did you go, right, I need a longer term vision? Because you can't just go on a whim year after year building this investment up. Do you work on a 5-year plan, 3-year plan? Is there
no, I mean, we work on just trying to do the best job. I mean, like in 2011 we were hiring the internet in for the press, and it was like, I don't know, something like 12 grand, you know, just to get for the weekend. So, you know, we basically dug 1.7 kilometers from the road and put in fiber optic. So we would have 1 gigabyte fiber optic, which is, I don't know, like £1,000 a month.
So that was a huge investment for the future.
Yeah, so like every month we pay £1,000 just for the internet, and we use it like one weekend of the year. And yeah, I rent it out to Boomtown as well now. Yeah. But yeah, you know, all things like that. The water we put in 10 years ago, there's like 10 kilometers of water underneath, you know, that we just connect up a bladder when it comes to, and to all the underneath the track, there's 3 big you know, reservoirs, and we have a big reservoir in the woods, and all the pipe work leads to those 3 reservoirs, so that we have sort of 1.7 million litres of water stored ready to water the track. So I mean, you saw how much it rained, and you saw how it the track dried out. I mean,
amazing.
People, you know, I mean, you know, on the internet were saying like, oh yeah, you're mad running in March. I mean, firstly, you know, last year we didn't have a GP because, you know, we're one of the nations that it's not government backed. So, you know, when you can understand from their business point of view that these countries that, you know, have a government that will back, you know, the sponsorship of running the event, you know, with us, you know, in front now, they just take half the ticket sales, and you know, so that's less of a, so you know, they're not guaranteed their profit.
No.
So, or to, you know, the amount to even run the event. So with that, we just you know, we just carry on building the track to try to do it as best as we can, you know, and invest in sort of infrastructure that's going to save us in the long term. I mean, just in diesel alone, like all the generators, we have like 13 or 14 generators. You know, the diesel alone, just keeping up with the diesel, and it's, you know, it runs in sort of over 15,000, no, probably £20,000 just in diesel alone, just to keep, and especially like this weekend with everyone putting on heaters and stuff like that. You know,
I suppose you wouldn't stop to think about that.
People, you know, say, oh, like, we've got electricity's gone off or whatever. You know, I don't know if, you know, if you're at home and you've got an extension lead and then you put like 3 plugs in, and then you go and put a big heater on, it's, you know, suddenly things trip. Well, you know, you're dealing with an unknown quantity of camper vans that have all got their appliances that may have little earth leakages and stuff like that. You know, and maybe there's some things that don't have an earth on it because they come from abroad and they use a 2-pin, and that will trip, and suddenly that trips everything else. The electricians will run ragged through just those little things.
See, this is exactly why I wanted to talk to you.
Actually, in our rules and regs from Ustream, we're only meant to be given something like 5 amps. Well, I mean, you know, that's nothing compared to, you know, power in the great big Honda hospitality.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's running a sort of a 10 kVA shower. You've got air conditions, which are heaters now. Yeah, I mean, it's just huge amount of draw.
This is great stuff, because this is what I mean, because you get people that are just going, oh, this is, you know, they never see the other side of the coin, and would never think about it in that detail, and it is fascinating stuff. So regarding the actual weekend then, you know, obviously, how did you feel it went? And then the second part of that question is like, has there ever been any talk already, or thoughts of the future, where you go from here with the British GP?
I mean, you know, leading up to the race, you know, we had everything organised, and then, you know, we battled against the winds prior to it. I think we had Storm Kiara and Storm in Norman or whatever, I don't know, and then came another one, Storm in Yorby. But already, like, some of the fencing prior had blown down at the top, and also we had to, you know, they had to sort of make some new pins and everything like that to get rid of, you know, because I mean there was 70-mile-an-hour winds, so that all got sorted, and then then sort of the build, and we were on top of everything, and then obviously, you know, we had the huge winds and rain and trying to get everyone in, come at the wrong time. There's never a right time, but you know, it doesn't matter, you know, what you do, you know, you've got to get them in. So obviously that took up all the resources. So it felt like it was, you know, flat out when last year, if it had been sort of sunny like last year, it would have been, you know, it'd been pretty relaxed. But I mean, you know, we did it. We sort of got everyone in, and you know, the event ran sort of smoothly, and you know, a lot of people said that. So we have to sort of pat ourselves on the back really for how we coped with that, because you know, for anyone, you know, whether it's floods out on towns and cities, you know, to deal with great big weather changes, it's difficult, you know, and it's easy for people to say, oh, just put matting down and just put tracking down. Well, you know, every metre of tracking is £30.
Well, there you go. So work that on out.
So to go 100 metres is £3,000. You know, 100 metres goes nowhere, and so we had different types of matting that we hired in, and you know, and all of that matting has to be laid, has to be delivered, and then it has to be cleaned afterwards. You know, £6 a mat just to clean it for a 1.2 metre mat by 2.4. You know, the add-on and the costs of everything is huge, and you just have to be, you know, rational to achieve the sort of.
I'm laughing because earlier on in this interview you just said the words, and I think you should be quoted on this now. That you're mad for it. And there you go. I mean, you must be.
Well,
to put yourself through that, you know.
I actually, like I say, you know, I don't actually know why I do it. You know, I actually honestly don't know why I do it, because it, like I say, it's not like I need it for a fix of motocross.
It's
not like, you know, I'm going to be rolling around in
like
a Rolls Royce,
or piles of cash on your bed,
or even you know, or even an ice cream afterwards. So I don't know. It's just, I guess, you know, all these people that volunteers for like running races or cycle races, or you know, they're there with their clipboard helping out. I mean, I just guess I've been conditioned to do this.
It's your passion. It's your reason for being, I guess.
Yeah, but I have my team, so I don't need that reason.
I was going to get onto that. So this year, obviously, you've done it previously, and you've always been slotted in further in the calendar, and you're trying to run a race team as well. What has been the advantages or disadvantages of having the GP earlier? Does that help in preparation for the team, because you can now concentrate on the team? I know this is an all-round yearly gig. I get that. I know we don't just park here now, and you won't be thinking about this until you know, December next year. But has that made? Do you think that'll make it a little bit less stressful regarding the team?
Yeah, I mean, this summer was, well, this winter was really, really difficult because, you know, our main sponsor from you know, long time, Bike It, you know, they've been sort of hit by lots of sort of different sort of internet type motorcycling buying and everything. So, you know, they couldn't do the sponsorship, they couldn't warrant the sponsorship, you know, in their profits. So for the first time, you know, Bike It's been with me 25 years, that we didn't have Bike as a sponsor. And then the oil sponsor that we had, which was Liquid Moly, we're going to step up to be title, and then they decided to in December to back out and continue with to go with MotoGP. So that's been the hardest, is trying to keep the team up and running and developing and everything like that, because like I say, we're one of the we're sort of, the whole GP paddock has changed now. So I'm mechanic, come up and sort of got sponsors and and have my team, and then we have fantastic support from Kawasaki. But the new breed of team are wealthy. They're motocross people that have done motocross in the past, and now they have very good money. They have good backup, so they have no problem to prop up things. They could wait for sponsors to come in, because they got the money to go on ahead and get things done, and which is great. I mean, and it's a battle for us, because that's how it's changing, and but also equally, those people can pull out. This is my living. This is my mechanics have been with me for sort of 15 years. They live at home. They've had babies. They've got houses. It's a proper job. And that's what I've tried to incorporate in in my team, is everything is about stability. Because
well, you're there every year.
Rain, my 31st season.
Rain or shine.
And then I always remember, like,
literally rain or shine.
Yeah, you've just got to cut your cloth accordingly. Like this year we have, we nearly had Max.
Yeah.
Max wanted to come, and we had a deal for Max, but Kawasaki had instructions just to concentrate on KRT. So there was no support for 450, but internally we had a lot of sponsor support, and there was going to be a lot. So I said to Max, I said, look, if you don't get anything in America, there's a deal there. We'll make a deal, and that was that came close, and so we hang on, and then so we ended up just staying with Courtney and our
well, that started off all right.
And Wilson, our Australian rider. So Courtney, I mean, everyone saw her. She was fantastic in the conditions and sort of rode steady.
But I've also known you long enough to know that you're an engineer. So it's not just running a team. You are so hands-on with the development of the bike. I mean, I still know that is your priority. It's not just about, of course, you've got to get the sponsors in to do it all, but your real passion is building the best bike possible. That's still your thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we're taking on the factories and trying to do it in an efficient way. We have the lightest bike at the in the paddock, and which is a feather in the cap, because you're against at the end of the day weight is equal to horsepower, and it's 3 horsepower if you can get the weight down. And I mean, we're up against the factory teams, and that's that's the ambition, to compete with them, not just to be part of the numbers. And I think the MX2 class is pretty open at the moment. There's a lot of good riders and a lot of young riders, so they're all going to make mistakes, and people are going to develop at different times. So I think that's quite an exciting class, really.
Definitely.
I mean, the MXGP is that's just insane. The amount of money in that class, just in riders' wages, and and backing. I mean, even now Kawasaki have just they've now sort of moved their whole hospitality into another vehicle, and the main KRT is sort of just for the Japanese and just for engineers, and Honda have the same, KTM have the same, and Husky, and and obviously Yamaha. Now you've got a whole team of, like, which was Rinaldi, have now just gone. I think they've come out of the rat race of trying to compete at the high level. Obviously you've got the new breed of, say, like Husky's new trailer, which is like
bordering on
I mean that stuff. But that goes back to Mike Church had that years ago. It's just got some fronts on. I mean, it's development in the paddock and all these structures is fantastic if it's if it's sustainable. Because at the end of the day, the main thing is to have 40 riders in each class, and that's what we had at the weekend, and hopefully we can keep that going through the year.
See, I'm sat here with you now, and just like so, the one thing that's clear is just like you said, you don't even know why is your enthusiasm and love of it. I mean, I mean, how many hours of sleep do you? How many hours of sleep do you get a day? Just out of interest.
No,
like you can't get many.
Normally
because I
5.
know you'll be at the workshop on the leg. I mean, you're still hands on and doing all that.
I mean, like, yeah.
Does the brain ever switch off from this?
No, not really. Like,
no,
5 hours
didn't think
a
so.
day. Like, but that's yeah. I mean, and you know, and that's when people say, "Oh, you're mad to run in March," this, that, and the other. You know, I had a choice. You know, I got offered it, and I could have said no.
Yeah.
So it's not Ustream's fault that they're mad trying to get. You know, I still had the decision to say no. At the end of the day, last year we didn't have a Grand Prix. Then later on, they offered us. You know, they increased the GPs to 20, and they offered me the first round. I looked positively at that we're going to have healthy riders, and generally, look at today. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
This year was unusual in the storms. I mean, it's hard to believe, but you know, this area does have good weather. And
no, I know. I live here.
Yeah, that's right. And we know that this ground. The reason when we built the track here was that you wouldn't use this ground because of the flints, because it's so dangerous. But when we built the track in 2006, we took all the soil off and put it through a conveyor, and took all the stone out and put all the soil back on, and built roads with the stone, and continued to do that. So that's why it drains so well. You know, chalk is like a sponge, and everything's on a camber, and there's through the middle of the valley is a huge, great big French drain that was dug. So I mean, when you see like one picture of someone trying to say how bad it was, like on Friday, you know, and there's this one puddle which is the main entrance for forklifts and that, to take out the advertising barriers. I don't even bother to sort of argue with those guys, you know, because like I say, everyone's entitled to an opinion, but to get up.
That must be hard though, even though you're enthusiastic, to bite your lip and to not get drawn into it.
No, I try to answer with constructive answers, you know, if it's a reason, like, you know, say like those toilets, why were there no toilets at the top, you know, there's an answer, you know, there's a reason, and like I say, I'll sit down with anyone, and you know, I don't like to argue with anyone, and but I try not to do things you know, wrongly either. You know, I try to take advice from people you know, who are specialists, and say, right, okay, this is the reason why you do this and this, and you know, it's easy to criticize, but if you criticize, then you know, you have to be able to stand up and do those things yourself, you know, because it's easy, you know, it's easy to criticize, and it's easy to say this and this, but it's hard to actually stand up and say, right, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it for nothing, and I'm going to make this happen. And there's not so many people that will actually do that. But I mean, even from when I was 16, I was one of 5 people at Winchester Club that always turned up for the working party. That always did the roads.
So it's, like you said, it's in your DNA almost.
I mean, at 16, I was on the committee at Winchester Club, Motocross Club, and you know, I never did schoolboy or anything like that. I just rode a BSA Bantam around the field at Winchester. So, you know, like I say, you know, it's easy to criticise, but it's harder to get off your ass and sort of put in the work. And as I say, the people here, the volunteers, some local people, all the management and everyone, they work hard, and they're, you know, and they're sort of, they've got their backbone behind it, and we're always helpful for people like that.
Absolutely. Well, I think you're gaining a few fans, you know, even more people that would maybe, you know, because what you've done particularly this year with the adversity and whatever. So, you know, wrapping it up then, the final shot, I suppose, you know, whatever, I know you're going to keep going because it's what you do, but from here on in, if for whatever reason you decided to stop it all, what would be the overriding thing that you I guess pride, if you know, of what you've done in this sport? Because regards of a CV, it's pretty impressive.
I mean, there's not much I haven't done apart from being a good rider.
But you've made some good riders, or helped them on their way.
I mean, you know, I still keep in contact with like Zach and stuff like that. And no, I mean, there's actually not much that stands out, because I sort of still enjoy every single day. And so, you know, there's, you know, if you said to me, what do you really want to eat? I don't mind, you know, because it's just food to me. You know, and if there's anywhere, do you really want to go? It's not really, because, you know, it's wherever you go, it's sort of good fun if you're with the right people.
Yeah.
You know, there's not many people understand me. You know, because I am quite reserved. I sort of, you know, stand back a bit, and you know, I only get going if I'm sort of really with people that,
yeah,
you know, I know and everything. Everyone sort of sometimes maybe thinks I'm quiet or ignorant or whatever, because you know, half the time it's my mind is like
processing it all.
Yeah,
and
you know,
working
I'm sort of here, there, and everywhere trying to think of things.
Yeah.
You know, I don't get, you know, depressed or anything like that. I don't see a
well, no, you
negative
seem quite
side
the
of it.
opposite of that.
Yeah,
Like, you're always looking for that,
Yeah,
like you said,
I'll
that
always-
challenge and just.
You know, I don't see a positive in something because I already think that as a normal.
Yes.
You know,
yeah,
I don't. Yeah, like they said, about the rain. That's for me. It was that, right. Well, this wind has blown the bad weather out of the way, and now we've got good weather. So now we can have a good race. It's not. You know, I mean, it's
just always moving forward.
Yeah, that's just I don't dwell on things, and I don't, you know, I don't have memorabilia from all my riders. I don't have shirts and stuff like that.
But you got the memories though. But
I got the memories, and you know, it's like whatever's next on my agenda, I go for it.
Yeah.
And you know, like I say, I'm thankful for some, you know, good sponsors around me that have given me sort of good advice. You know, one bit of advice that stood out was from my sponsor Brendmar, Ron Willis, and he said to me, because he sponsors us with the workshop.
And he sponsored you a long time.
We've been in the workshop now 20 years, and he said to me, look, when you're building the workshop, sort of build modular. And he said, don't just build things to, you know, to do just for now how you want it. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So when we built the workshop, you know, normally you'd build the workshop all bespoke to that.
Yeah.
All our walls are sort of, you know, modular, so we can move them around, and all our cabinets. And then sure, he was right. Yeah, you know, suddenly you've got a diner room added, and suddenly you've got a machine room added, and all of those things have changed around, and you know, and that's how I try and base things. You know, a lot of things on, it will never stay the same.
No.
So you've got to be, you know, ready for sort of change.
Blimey, I feel guilty now that I've already taken up, what have we got, like half an hour of your time.
I did say I was only going to go 2 minutes.
I know, but it's been great. It's been fascinating talking to you. I appreciate your time. By the way, before he stepped in here, Steve was out there picking up litter, just to ram the point home even more, how he is that hands-on. So I don't think you're going to go and pick up more litter, but you're out here obviously with your rider doing some testing ready for Volkswagen. So we hope all that goes good at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, we're having you know, a little day for you know, we've invited Team Green up here to have their photo shoot. And,
yes, thanks for that. Appreciate that.
You know, all of a little ride out. I mean, we're thinking about having a couple of practice days here.
Really?
I have 2 days.
Right, there you go, people. You heard it first. Now he said it, and because he's a doer, I'm sure you know that's happening.
Well, I have 2 days left.
Excellent.
I won't say I did offer the ACU to have this track for 2 weeks' time. I'd leave the press centre and everything there, that they could have had this for the British Championship.
Really?
But
okay,
it didn't come off.
Yeah, we won't need to go into the politics of that, but there you go, another bit of a scoop.
Yeah,
wow.
You know, I try to help. You know.
Yeah, well, I know.
Anyone.
I mean, that's it. It's no, and long may that continue. Like I said, thank you for your time.
No worries.
He's going to go out there
Thank
now
you.
and do some stuff with Wilson. And probably stand back.
Show him how sunny it is.
Yeah, I will actually. Steve can go and do his thing. Thanks, Steve. There you go. I'm going to spin it round. There we are. Look. There it is.
Oh, you can see all the rubbish and all the tents left and everything.
They're probably staring blinded at the sun. In fact, that's a good way to end it. I'll just open the door. There we are. Look, that's the kind of litter and rubbish that's left behind. Obviously, like Steve says, that it's just the way it is. He's not moaning at anybody about that, but it's a classic case of people not realising what the work that goes into the clean-up operation either. So there you go. Right, let's go and watch some bikes go around because that's what we love doing.
Okay.
Right, thanks guys. I'll be back probably in another week or so with the next victim for Man in the Van. Nice one. We're out of here. See you later.